Alright, how's it going? I'm that ginger photographer. Today's video is going to be all about using the Canon R6 for wedding photography. I'm going to start off by talking about the things that I do like about the Canon R6, and then I'm going to be talking about the things that I don't like about the Canon R6. So I've actually photographed 124, 125, 126, 127, nearly 200 weddings. I know, I don't look old enough, but it's true. And I've always used a DSLR for those weddings up until about 7 weddings ago when I got the Canon R6. And I've been using the R6 alongside my Canon 5D Mark IV. So throughout these 7 weddings, I think it's fair to say I've got a good feel for it now, and I'm picking up on things that I do like about it, and I'm picking up on things that I don't like about it. So that's what I'm going to be discussing right now. So the first great thing about the Canon R6, if you shoot weddings like I shoot weddings, you're going to be there 12, 14 hours a day. It's a pretty simple one, but a card like this will hold nearly double the amount as one of these CF cards. I forgot to mention there, both cards are 64 gigabytes. I'm not comparing one card to another saying SDs are better. It's the size I'm on about. It's all about the size. So it's a great thing that you don't need to take as many cards to a wedding, and also that you don't need to be changing cards as often. On average, I shoot about 4,000 pictures at a wedding, and I could fit all of those pictures onto 2 64 gig memory cards on an R6. If that was the 5D Mark IV, I'd be looking at about 4 or 5 memory cards. So that's the difference in the amount of pictures that you can get on each card. The second great thing about it is the face detection. Obviously, when you're shooting a wedding, you might be far away from the couple, or you might be far away from guests. You might be on the dance floor, so things might be moving fast. The face detection on the R6 is superb. It picks out that face and it picks out that eye straight away, and it locks focus on that. So that's something that I've turned on for every wedding, and I do think it's just amazing, because from the back of the church or far away in a venue during speeches like I have been before, I can rely on that Canon R6 because I know it's focusing on that person. Whereas on the 5D, I'd be using back button focus. I'd focus it, recompose it. Sometimes the focusing was slightly off, sometimes it had missed focus on that person. Using the face detection on the R6, I know every time that the focus is on that person's face. As a second part to that, I've also got servo focusing turned on, so that it constantly tracks that person's face wherever they are in a scene. As long as I'm holding down that shutter, if they're moving through a scene or they're moving about towards me further away, it's constantly tracking their face across the picture, which is absolutely great at weddings, because if you've got a couple walking towards you through loads of confetti, you know that it's tracking them as they come closer. You're not having to constantly refocus like you would on the DSLR. It's constantly tracking them. All you need to do is keep pressing that button, keep taking those pictures. And the last thing that I love about the R6 for weddings is you can actually see the picture that you're taking through the digital viewfinder. For the last 10 years of photographing weddings, I've been used to the DSLR, where when you look through the viewfinder, you're just seeing a mirror image of what you're looking at. So basically, you're looking at real life. You could be underexposed, you could be overexposed. You don't know until you've actually taken that picture. You look down, you might have took 10 pictures and none of them are any good because they're all overexposed, they're all blown out. If any of my wedding couples are watching this, I definitely haven't done that. Your pictures were all alright. At least with the R6, as soon as you look through that viewfinder, you can see if that picture's too dark, you can see if it's too light, you can adjust your settings accordingly. So technically speaking, your exposure should be correct for every single picture you take at a wedding. There should be no reason to have a wrongly exposed picture, because as soon as you look through the viewfinder, you know it's right or you know it's wrong. I didn't realise exactly how many pictures I'd taken overexposed on the DSLR. Taking pictures from inside the church to the couple coming outside of the church. Sometimes I wouldn't adjust my shutter speed enough, so they'd be slightly overexposed still. With the R6, as soon as I come out, I can keep turning until I know the picture's right. Now for the not so good things. Firstly, I know I've just mentioned that you can fit more pictures on a card because the sensor on the R6 is only 20.1 megapixels, but that also means that it's not as high quality as the 5D Mark IV. And personally, I've experienced where it hasn't been able to pull that quality back. It hasn't been able to correct colours properly, where the 5D would have done it really easy. And to be fair, you're probably not going to need wedding pictures blown up the size of billboards, but still you kind of need that quality to be there so that you can edit it if you need to edit. Secondly, moving from a DSLR to a mirrorless camera like I have, one thing that I have noticed that you might have noticed as well if you've done the same, it's probably to do with the viewfinder being digital and also that back display is constantly on. I do think there's a setting in there where you can turn the back display off if you want to, but it does eat up the batteries a lot more. Changing those settings and everything through the viewfinder, because it's all digital, it's all battery powered, it doesn't last as long. So you do need a lot more batteries for the R6 compared to the DSLRs that I've used in the past. I do find I'm having to change batteries a lot more often. One thing I will mention about face detection, I would absolutely love it if you could leave in the comments if you've experienced this. If I'm focusing on a scene and it's got the face detection on a certain person, it might not be the person that I actually want in focus. I cannot get it to change. I've tried using the joystick, I've tried using using the drag sensor on the back of the screen when you're looking through the viewfinder. I've tried pressing different buttons to see if I can get it to switch faces. I just cannot get it to change what it's focusing on. What I have done in a few situations is I've just gone into manual focus mode, used peaking instead, and focused on the person that I want to be in focus. So I know I said earlier that it's a good thing, the face detection is awesome and it is great when it works right, but if it's focusing on the wrong person, I just can't get it to change. So I'd love to know if that's just a user error. I've tried Googling it, I've tried searching on YouTube for it. I cannot get it to change who it's focusing on when it's using the face detection. And my last complaint about the R6 is these memory cards in a DSLR just feel so much more robust than these in a mirrorless camera. These CF cards are so much more robust, and you know if you've dropped one of these. If you drop one of these SD cards, that'll just float away. You'll never even know. The wind will take it. So that's probably the only other thing that I wish was different, is that it had a CF card slot, because I do think they're more robust, and like I say, you would know if you've dropped one, and I'm pretty sure that'd snap a lot easier as well compared to the CF cards. You'd struggle to break one of these. So overall, it is a really good camera and I am enjoying using it. I do use my 5D Mark IV as my main camera still, and the Canon R6 is just my secondary body that I'll just pull up when I want to use it. I don't rely on it too much because I still do prefer the 5D, and it's probably partly because I've been using DSLRs for the last 10 years, 12 years. It's taken a little bit of getting used to the mirrorless camera and how they function, so that's partly on me as well. If you've been using mirrorless, you'll probably slip into this R6 a lot more easy than I have, and you'll probably be a lot more comfortable with it straight away as well. I'm just trying to get used to making that switch, and at the minute it's probably even harder because I'm still using both types of camera. One thing that I will give it is a benefit of it is a lot lighter, a lot smaller, and a lot nicer on your back, so you don't go home with that horrible pain at the end of the day. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the R6, or if you're looking to make that switch. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Love you, bye.